Chapter 8, Part 2. Ooh, the new girl has a colored-in mark. Whatever could that mean? Is she special? Does she have fabulous powers? Oh my, oh my! She dropped her hand from her throat and narrowed her eyes at me. Her voice went as flat and mean as her gaze. Here's what's what. I'm it here. Things go my way. You don't want to get along here? Then you'd best remember that. If you don't, you'll be in for a world of shit. Okay, she was starting to piss me off. Look, I said, I just got here. I'm not looking for trouble, and I have no control over what people are saying about my mark. Her eyes narrowed. Ah, crap. Was I going to have to actually fight this girl? I've never been in a fight in my life. My stomach knotted up, and I got ready to duck or run or whatever would not get me beat up. Then, just as quickly as she'd gone all scary and hateful, her face relaxed into a smile, and she turned back into sweet little blonde again. Not that I was fooled. Good, just so we understand each other. Huh? I understood she forgot to take her meds, but that was all I understood. Aphrodite didn't give me time to say anything. With one last, weirdly warm smile, she knocked on the door. Come on in, called a perky voice with an Okie accent. Okay, first off, I don't know what an Okie accent is, so I'm not even going to attempt to say it, or do it. Aphrodite opened the door. Hi all, oh my gosh, come on in. With a huge grin, my new room, also a blonde, rushed up like a little countrified tornado, but the instant she saw Aphrodite, her grin slid from her face and she stopped hurrying toward us. I brought you your new roommate. There was nothing technically wrong with Aphrodite's words, but her tone was hateful and she was putting on a terrible, fake Oklahoma accent. Stevie Ray Johnson, this is Zoe Redbird. Zoe Redbird, this is Stevie Ray Johnson. There. Now ain't we all nice and cozy like three little corns on a cob? I glanced at Stevie Ray. She looked like a little terrified little rabbit. Thanks for showing me up here, Aphrodite. I talked quickly, moving toward Aphrodite, who automatically stepped back, which put her out in the hall again. See you around. I closed the door on her, as her look of surprise was just beginning to change to anger. Then I turned to Stevie Ray, who was still pale. What's with her? I asked. She's... Even though I didn't know her at all, I could tell that Stevie Ray was struggling with how much she should or shouldn't say, so I decided to help her. I mean, we're going to be roommates. She's a bitch, I said. Stevie Ray's eyes went round and then she giggled. She's not very nice, that's for sure. She needs pharmaceutical help, that's for sure, I added, making her laugh some more. I think we're going to get along just fine, Zoe Redbird, she said, still smiling. Welcome to your new home. She stepped aside and made a sweeping arm gesture at the little room, like she was ushering me into a palace. I looked around and blinked, several times. The first thing I saw was the life-size Kenny Chesney poster that hung over one of the two beds, and the cowgirl hat that rested on one of the bedside tables. The one that also had the old-fashioned looking gas lamp with the base shaped like a cowboy boot. Oh, nuh-uh, Stevie Ray was a total Okie. Then she shocked me with a big hello hug, reminding me of a cute puppy with her short curly hair and her smiling round face. Zoe, I'm so glad you're feeling better. I was so worried when I heard you'd hurt yourself. I'm really glad you're finally here. Thanks, I said, still staring around what was now my room, too, feeling totally overwhelmed and weirdly on the edge of tears again. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Stevie Ray was watching me with big, serious blue eyes that were filled with sympathetic tears. I nodded, not trusting my voice. I know. I cried the whole first night. I swallowed back my own tears and asked, how long have you been here? 3 months, and man, I was glad when they told me I was getting a roommate. You knew I was coming? She nodded vigorously. Oh yeah, Nefret told me the day before yesterday that the tracker had sensed you and was going to mark you. I thought you'd be here yesterday, but then I heard what happened. I heard that you'd had an accident and been brought to the clinic. What happened? I shrugged and said, I was looking for my grandma and I fell and hit my head. I wasn't getting the weird feeling that told me to keep my mouth shut, but I wasn't sure how much I should say to Stevie Ray yet. And I was a little relieved when she nodded, as though she understood and didn't ask any more questions about the accident, or mention my weird colored-in mark. Your parents freaked when you got your mark? Totally, didn't yours? Actually, my mama was okay with it. She said anything that got me out of Henrietta was a good thing. Henrietta, Oklahoma? I asked, glad to move to a subject that was not all about me. Sadly, yes. Stevie Ray flopped down on the bed in front of her Kenny Chesney poster and motioned for me to sit on the one across from her. I did, and then felt a little jolt of surprise when I realized I was sitting on my cool hot pink and green Ralph Lauren comforter from home. I looked at the little oak end table and blinked. There was my annoyingly ugly alarm clock, nerdy glasses when I'm sick of wearing my contacts, and the picture of Grandma and me from last summer. And in the bookshelves behind the computer on the side of the room, I saw my Gossip Girls and Bubble series books, along with some of the other favorites, including Bram Stoker Dracula, which was more than a little ironic, some CDs, my laptop, and, oh dear sweet lord, my Monsters, Inc. figurines. How incredibly embarrassing. My backpack was sitting on the floor next to my bed. Your grandma brought your stuff up here. She's really nice, Stevie Ray said. She's more than nice. She's brave as hell to have faced my mom and her stupid husband to get this stuff for me. I can only imagine the overly dramatic scene my mom caused. I sighed and then shook my head. Yeah, I guess I'm lucky. At least my mama was cool about all this, Stevie Ray pointed to the outline of the crescent moon on her forehead. Even if my daddy lost every bit of his mind, me being his only baby girl and all. She shrugged and then giggled. My 3 brothers thought it was awesome and wanted to know if I could help them with vampire chicks. She rolled her eyes. Stupid boys. Stupid boys, I echoed and smiled at her. If she thought boys were stupid, she and I would get along fine. Mostly now I'm okay with all of this. I mean, the classes are weird, but I like them. Especially the Taekwondo class. I kinda like to kick butt. She grins mischievously, like a little blonde elf. I like the uniforms, which totally shocked me at first. I mean, would anyone expect to like school uniforms? But we can add stuff to them and make them unique so they don't look like typical stuck-up, boring school uniforms. And there are some seriously hot guys here, even if the boys are stupid. Her eyes sparkled. Mostly I'm just so darn glad to be out of Henrietta that I don't mind all the other stuff, even if the Tulsa is kind of scary because it's so big. Tulsa, whatever that is, hope I'm saying it right, isn't scary, I say automatically. Unlike too many kids from our suburb of Broken Arrow, I actually knew my way around Tulsa, thanks to what Grandma liked to call field tripping with her. You just have to know where to go. There's a great bead gallery where you can make your own jewelry downtown on Brady Street, and next door to that is Lola's at the Sorry guys, again, I don't have my glasses. Lola's at the Bowery. She has the best desserts in town. Cherry Street is cool too. We're not far from there now. Actually, we're right by the awesome Hillbrook Museum and Utica Square. There's some excellent shopping there, and I suddenly realized what I was saying. Did vampire kids get to mingle with regular kids? I searched my memory. No, I'd never seen kids with crescent moon outlines hanging around the Philbrook or the Utica's Gap or Banana Republic or Starbucks. I'd never seen them at the movies. Hell, I'd never even seen a vampire kid before today. So would they keep us locked up here for 4 years? Feeling a little short of breath and claustrophobic, I asked, do we ever get out of here? Yeah, but there are all sorts of rules you have to follow. Rules? Like what? Well, you can't wear any part of the school uniform. She broke off suddenly. Shoot, that reminds me, we have to hurry. Dinner is in a few minutes, and you need to change. She jumped up and started to rummage through the closet that was on the side of the room, chatting at me from over her shoulder the whole time. Nefert had some clothes delivered here last night. Don't worry about the size not being right. Somehow they always know what size will be before they actually see it. It's kind of freaky how the adult vamps know way more than the school. Anyway, don't be scared. I was serious before when I said the uniforms aren't as awful as you think they'd be. They really can add your own stuff to them. Like me. I looked at her. I mean, really looked at her. She was wearing a pair of honest-to-God Roper jeans. You know, the kind those... I'm so sorry, dude. I don't know. You know, the kind those, whatever, kids wear that are way too tight and have no back pockets. How anyone could think no back pockets and tightness was cute, I'd honestly never understand. Stevie Ray was totally skinny, and the jeans even made her butt look wide. I knew before I looked at the girl's feet what she'd be wearing. Cowboy boots. I glanced out inside. Yep, brown leather, flat-heeled, pointy-tipped cowboy boots. Tucked in her countrified jeans was a black, long-sleeved cotton blouse that had the expensive look of something you'd find at Saks or Neiman Marcus, versus the cheaper, see-through shirts that overpriced Abercrombie tries to make us believe aren't slutty. When she glanced over at me and saw that she had double-pierced ears, I saw that she had double-pierced ears with little silver hoops in them. She turned and held out in one hand a black blouse like the one she had on, and a pullover sweater in another. And I decided that even though the country look wasn't for me, she was kind of cute with her mixture of hayseed and chic. Here you go, just throw these on over your jeans and we'll be ready. The flickered light from the cowboy boot lamp caught on a streak of silver embroidery that was one of the breasts of the sweatshirt she was holding out. I got up and took the two shirts, holding the sweater up so I could see the front of it better. The silver embroidery was in the shape of a spiral that glittered around and around in a delicate circle that would rest over my heart. It's our sign, Stevie Ray said. Our sign? Yeah, each class. Here they call them third formers, fourth formers, fifth formers, and sixth formers. Has their own sign. We're third formers, so our sign is the silver labyrinth of the goddess Nyx. What does it mean? I asked, more to myself than to her as I traced my finger around the silver circles. It stands for our new beginning as we start walking the path of night and learn the ways of the goddess and the possibilities of our new life. I looked up at her, surprised that she suddenly sounded so serious. She grinned a little shyly at me and shrugged her shoulders. It's one of the first things you learn in Vampire Sociology 101. That's the class Neferette teaches, and it sure beats the heck out of the boring classes I was taking at Henrietta High, home of the Fighting Hens. Ugh, Fighting Hens? What kind of a mascot is that? She shook her head and rolled her eyes while I laughed. Anyway, I heard Neferette is your mentor, which is really lucky. She hardly takes on any new kids, and besides being High Priestess, she's way the coolest teacher here. What she didn't say was that I'm not just lucky, I'm special, with my weird coloring mark. Which reminds me, Stevie Ray, why haven't you asked about my mark? I mean, I appreciate you not bombarding me with the 100 questions, but all the way up here, everyone who saw me stared at my mark. Aphrodite mentioned it almost the second we were alone. You haven't even really looked at it. Why? Then she did finally look at my forehead before she shrugged and met my eyes again. You're my roommate. I figured you'd tell me what was up with it when you were ready. One thing growing up in a small town like Henrietta taught me is that it's best to mind your own business if you want someone to stay your friend. Well, we're going to be rooming for 4 years, she paused, and in the gap between words sat the big, ugly, unsaid truth that we'd be roommates for 4 years only if both of us survived the change. Stevie Ray swallowed hard and finished in a rush. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I want us to be friends. I smiled at her. She looked so young and hopeful, so nice and normal, not all what I imagined a vampire kid would be. I felt a little stirring of hope. Maybe I could find a way to fit in here. I want to be friends too. Yay for that! I swore she looked like a wriggly puppy again. But come on, hurry, we don't want to be late. She gave me a shove toward the door that sat between the two closets before she hurried over to a makeup mirror on her computer desk and started brushing at her short hair. I ducked inside to find a tiny bathroom and quickly pulled off my B.A. Tigers t-shirt and put on the cotton blouse and over it the silk knit sweater that was a deep, pretty shade of purple with little black plaid lines going through it. Okay, that was my phone. Sorry. I'll make a part 3.